Hi, boys and girls. Today we have another story that's going to help us learn about funny or humorous characters. Today, this is the book we will be reading. What do you notice right away about the students' faces? Well, we can find a clue about that in our title. It says Miss Nelson is missing. Miss Nelson is these students' teacher, and I bet they're worried because they don't know where she is. She's missing. Now, if we look at the back of this book, we see another teacher. We're going to find out about these two very different teachers in this book, written by Harry Allard and illustrated by James Marshall. So let's read this book together to find out about these teachers and to find out, where is Miss Nelson? The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling, paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. "Now settle down," said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled, they squirmed and made faces. They were even rude during story hour, and they always refused to do their lessons. "Something will have to be done," said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. "Wow!" yelled the kids. "Now we can really act up." They began to make more spitballs and paper planes. "Today, let's just be terrible," they said. "Not so fast," hissed an unpleasant voice. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. "I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." And she rapped the desks with her ruler. Where is Miss Nelson?" asked the kids. "Never mind that," snapped Miss Swamp. "Open those arithmetic books." Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. And they could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. "We'll have no story hour today," said Miss Swamp. "Keep your mouth shut," said Miss Swamp. "Sit perfectly still," said Miss Swamp. "And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry," said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. It says police station. "Maybe we should try to find her," they said. Some of them went to the police. Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. I think Miss Nelson is missing." Detective McSmog would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn so no one answered the door. In fact, the only person that they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. They got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark, said one of the kids, but that didn't seem likely. It says, sharks, very unpleasant. Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid, but that didn't seem likely either. I know, exclaimed one know-it-all. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies. But that was the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. Here comes the witch, they whispered. Hello, children, someone said in a sweet voice. What do you notice about that picture? Does it seem similar to the picture that we already saw? It was Miss Nelson! Did you miss me? She asked. We certainly did, cried all the kids. Where were you? That's my little secret, said Miss Nelson. How about a story hour? Oh, yes, cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. What brought about all of these lovely changes? She asked. That's our little secret, said the kids. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell, she said to herself with a smile. Whose ugly black dress do you think that is? P.S. Detective McSmog is working on a new case. He is now looking for Miss Viola Swamp. Why do you think he's looking for Miss Viola Swamp, boys and girls? Where did she go? And that is something that I would like to know in Flipgrid today. So I am excited to know what you think about this book. I love this book. I loved finding out what happened at the end and where Miss Nelson was the whole time. Where was she? So I would love to hear your thoughts on Flipgrid today, and you're going to answer that question and another few questions that I have for you. And I can't wait to hear your thinking and see your faces today on Flipgrid. So I hope you enjoyed this story, and we're going to hear again from Miss Nelson tomorrow in another book. Thanks so much, boys and girls. See you soon.